Senator Cassidy.
Hey, Mr. Lowry. Again, thank you for your foregoing a lot of opportunity in order to serve veterans. I thank you for that. My staff and I have been looking at veterans' suicide rates. And there's some things that were counterintuitive to me. Turns out those who were never deployed were more likely to commit suicide than those who had been deployed. I would not have thought that. So it isn't PTSD per se. And I wonder if it's not just the same as suicide among the non-veteran population. And I'm giving a little bit of a preamble, and you'll see why in a second. The data shows that life stressors predictably can bring on suicide. Loss of a job, loss of housing, all the things that you might, a marriage that doesn't do well because of financial stress. Now, our government, I imagine when you're in your private sector firms, the silos are consciously broke down, whereas here it seems as if they are consciously erected. And there is a Veterans Office of Suicide Prevention, and you're the ones providing the transition assistance. The other thing I learned is that the suicide rate is highest for those separated from 3 months to 12 months, 1.5 times more. And there's also an increased rate for those who are out for 3 months and less. But the peak is from 3 months to, so it's that transition assistance who you're going to be pivotal on, if you're with me. So your thoughts about that, and what do you see about the opportunities to work with the Veterans Office of Suicide Prevention to give us a better idea of what's going on? I did not know this until my staff began to educate me, but I suspect my colleagues would like to know this information. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate the question. I was not aware of that really compelling statistic on why it's so important that we get the transitions right. And I do know there is a correlation, job loss and suicide. So to the extent that, if confirmed, I can enable not only a smooth transition, but a transition that has a trajectory and has stability and long-term prospects for our veterans and their families, I think it would make a difference in this issue. With respect to your observation around silos, I see the vets playing a focal role on veterans' employment in those transition issues, but we obviously partner amongst a number of other agencies, the Veterans Affairs, Small Business Bureau, Department of Education, and I know you know the whole laundry list, Senator, and I would commit to being an active and able partner so that we can, and not only across the interagency, but also external stakeholders, so we can harness the collective energies of a lot of entities that want to eradicate and fix this problem. But I see that this would be a critical part of my mandate.
I do too, and I think partly we need creative thinking. Where can we get the data that's pertaining to transition housing to again, integrate with that which is in the veterans, and several of us are on the health, education, and labor. So but believe me, we'd cover your back on that. But I think what we need is a creative way to look at the data. For those people who are going through the transition program now, those are the ones who have an increased rate of suicide within the first year. So if we know financial stressors are part of it, we can, I almost say, that what we're currently doing may not be effective to the degree it needs to be, and to the degree that life's financial stressors contribute to suicide. You with me?
Yes, sir. I believe that's a very logical conclusion.
And frankly, I'm not blaming anybody, because it's only because I have enterprising staff folks that we are kind of overturning these relationships. So I think what we would appreciate is a fresh look at this and maybe a retooling of the program. Not only to have a transition seminar when folks are leaving the service, but rather to have a follow-up. You see where I'm going with that?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I appreciate your service, and I look forward to working with you on this issue, and I just thank you for the life's experience that you're bringing to it. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator.